Now at 7, North Georgia residents exposed to cancer-causing chemicals. That is the result of a new study released by Emory University after testing nearly 200 residents' blood.
And now the university taking action in direct response to an Atlanta News First investigation by our own Andy Parati. Andy.
Hey guys, state regulators discovered elevated levels of a cancer-causing toxin known as PFAS in their drinking water in Rome, Georgia about 10 years ago. In 2023, we wanted to answer a simple question. How did the chemicals impact residents? Tonight, we finally have answers.
Dear Alvin Jackson, thank you for participating in the Emory University North Georgia PFAS study.
It's a letter of gratitude from Emory University, but Alvin Jackson wishes it was addressed to someone else.
If you're concerned about your results, please contact your healthcare provider because, it scares me to death.
It's blood test results, part of a chemical exposure study Alvin took part in this past February, testing 177 residents for PFAS who live in Rome and Calhoun, Georgia, a toxin linked to numerous illnesses, including cancer. Alvin's results among the highest of all the participants. 2 nanograms per milliliter and below are considered safe. Alvin's blood, 141.
How does it make you feel that you have these chemicals in your blood right now?
It makes me feel mighty bad. I wish it had been discovered sooner. Does it make my life shorter? Does it make me vulnerable to disease?
Alvin isn't the only one with elevated levels. Emory's study released this month revealed nearly a quarter of all participants with PFAS levels so high, the National Academies of Scientists suggest getting additional medical evaluations, testing for cancer, hypertension, and thyroid disease. 76% of the participants with levels that could harm sensitive groups like children and pregnant women.
I mean, they know that they have a chemical in their body they can't get rid of, and that's problematic.
Dr. Dana Barr and Melanie Pearson are the Emory scientists who led this study.
If you were a city leader or a state leader looking at these results in these 2 communities, would you be concerned?
I would look for ways to try and reduce the exposure in these communities, definitely.
I'm ready.
Sarah Malone donated her blood for the study, too. The Rome resident is a breast cancer survivor. Her PFAS levels also among the highest of the participants.
Are you now wondering whether PFAS had something to do with your cancer?
Most definitely so. Most definitely so. But this has really hit home, and we really need to get on top of this.
While Emory's study did not focus on how residents were exposed, multiple pending lawsuits place blame on carpet manufacturers for treating their products with PFAS for decades and then discharging it into rivers cities use for drinking water. The companies have denied those claims.
And what we found is that when you drank tap water, you tended to have higher exposure than if you drank bottled water or water that was filtered in the refrigerator.
Emory's study was in direct response to an Atlanta News First investigation nearly 2 years ago that found elevated levels of PFAS in residents' blood, including Alvin. It was the first known attempt to measure the impact on people since regulators discovered the toxin in North Georgia nearly 10 years ago. Dr. Barr spoke to the participants after publishing the results.
Meeting them and hearing their concerns in that room.
Doesn't this make you mad?
Well, yeah, it does.
Do you think that was the thing that compelled you to take action?
Yeah, I think when you understand that there are real people that are having to live with the consequences of industrial pollution, yeah, it really makes you angry, like it made participants angry.
I mean, nobody ever thought about it until you did those tests. And that sort of opened up the door to finding out how many people are actually infected with these PFAS.
Some really shocking data there. So, Andy, what's next for the people with those elevated levels of PFAS in their system?
Carly, that's the overwhelming question for participants. Dr. Barr suggested 3 things. First, schedule an appointment with your doctor and to inform them about your results. Also, reduce your exposure, like limiting personal care products, makeup, and pesticides, and drink bottled water. Lastly, reach out to city and state leaders to advocate for change, like increased regulation and additional funding for more studies. Emory's study did not look into health outcomes, like whether PFAS exposure has led to an increase in disease. Those kinds of studies will cost more money. We reached out to the Georgia Department of Health, but it declined to comment because the results are preliminary and have yet to be peer reviewed. Andy Parati, Atlanta News First investigates.